Hey everyone, Harrison here. In today's video, we're going to be talking about break-in and what I believe it means to truly break a shoe in. I have a number of different shoes here. I'm just going to kind of point at them and talk about my experiences breaking them in. But I wanted to share a story first because this was actually prompted by somebody who watches these videos and really enjoys them and was asking me a question that basically said, hey, I don't wear dress shoes. I need to go to a wedding. What would you recommend? And they sent me a couple links to, Meerman was a brand. They sent me a link to a pair of Cole Haans with like the Nike sole. They sent me to another pair of Cole Haans. I shouldn't say Nike sole. It's like one of those like rubber running soles, basically. It's one of those weird hybrid dress shoes that are like an abomination. And then they sent me a link to something a little bit more pricey from Grant Stone. And, we were chatting about it. I'm like, does it fit your lifestyle to spend a lot of money on a pair of shoes that you're never going to wear? No. I said, get the Cole Haans. The reason why I said get the Cole Haans is because if you're going to buy a pair of properly welted footwear and not break them in beforehand, wearing them for 8-10 hours without taking them off or whatever and letting them breathe and letting them soften up and letting them sit there basically and give your foot a rest, it's going to be hell. It's just going to suck a lot. And that's what prompted this video. I was talking to somebody and saying, like, if you don't wear a lot of welted footwear, if you don't wear a lot of leather footwear, don't spend a lot of money on them if you're not going to wear them and then you're going to wear them once for 8 hours, because one, it'll sour your experience to actually wearing proper footwear like this. Properly constructed welted footwear, I should say. And two, like, you're not going to have a good time trying to break a pair of shoes in one sitting. So, like it's going to suck. It's going to make your feet bleed. Your feet are going to hurt. You're going to get blisters. It's not going to be a good time for anybody. Even the shoes won't like it. So to start off, what does it mean to break a shoe in? There are a number of components on the lower parts of the shoe that over time will break in to the shape of your foot and quite literally mold to the shape of your foot. So the components on the lower components of a shoe, whether it be the insole, the footbed, the cork filler, the heel counter, there are a number of components that can and will eventually mold to the shape of your foot. In sneakers, for example, it's foam, right? It's very soft. Oh, that was a moose sneeze. Excuse him. There's foam, right? And foam you step on it, it's soft, it's comfortable, it's flexible. There's really not a whole lot of break in there. In fact, foam, in my opinion, gets less comfortable over time, whereas once broken in, leather, cork fillers, and stuff like that maintain the shape of your foot and stay consistently way more comfortable than any shoes, right? Like if I have to walk a very long distance, I'm going to opt for something like this once broken in than a pair of sneakers, because after 2 or 3 hours, the foam in that sneakers, it just gets compressed, it gets really hard, it isn't comfortable anymore. My foot starts to sweat, my socks start to get all sticky, and it's just not a good time for my feet. Whereas in proper leather footwear, in my experience, I can wear them for long periods of time and experience the same comfort, arch support, whatever you want to call it, for 8, 10, 12 hours. Like these Grant Stones I've worn for I think it was 14 to 16 hours in one day. And once I took them off, I felt fine. The insole, the footbed was broken into my foot. There was proper arch support. My feet didn't smell after because I take care of the inside of the shoe with cedar true trees. Long story short, a broken-in shoe molds to the shape of your foot, maintains its shape because of the materials that are used in it, like a natural cork filler in the footbed or under the footbed and between the cavity of the blah, blah, blah. I'll talk about it. Whereas like this pair of Tafts, for example, is really comfortable out of the box because it feels like a sneaker, because you slip your shoe in and it's soft and it's flexible. There's foam, so it feels nice on your feet. But after 3 or 4 hours of standing, it all kind of compresses. And granted, there is some leather there, so it makes it better. Like I'd rather wear these for a long period of time than a pair of running shoes for a long period of time. But now that like these Emilio Francos are broken in, for example, I actually prefer these over long periods of time just because the leather components and the actual structure of the shoe support my foot better than this pair of Tafts, where these are really great for like a night out to dinner. But if I was going to the office and needed to walk around a lot, I'd opt for a pair of these Emilio Francos if I wanted something lightweight and flexible, whereas these are great for like shorter bursts. And this is completely subjective. I don't know if you can actually measure objectivity talking about this stuff, but in my experience, I prefer 100% leather to like a little leather like pad and foam. I much prefer just leather. Now, I was talking about the heel counter before. In really high quality footwear, this is something that a lot of people don't realize, is there's basically it's a stiffened piece of like Celastic in some shoes, but in really high quality shoes, in between the outer shell of the shoe and then the lining, it's a stiffened piece of leather. And that leather footbed, as you wear it, the heel cup will actually mold, the heel counter over here, like the rear quarters of the shoe, actually molds to the rear, you know, the heel of your shoe, or your foot, I'm sorry, the shoe molds to your foot, which leads to a more comfortable, more secured fit, right? It helps secure your ankles, it helps secure your heels, but it's just more comfortable. Like a properly broken in shoe, if there's anything you're going to take away from this video, is that a properly broken in shoe is quite literally a one-to-one fit. My dad and I have the same shoe size, but if he goes to like give me a pair of his shoes, I normally have to go to my cobbler and get them recrafted because his feet have have imprinted the bed of the shoe, where like my feet are a little bit narrow. He has normal looking feet. Like I can feel all of the little bumps and it doesn't feel right. So I effectively have to take a shoe that's been broken in, get it recrafted, and then break it in again, which I'm okay with because once it's broken in, it's super comfortable. The uppers are already really soft and they've patinaed beautifully sometimes. But, you know, there are like people who will like go to a thrift store, for example, and buy a pair of shoes and they're welted and they try them on and like, this isn't comfortable. And a lot of the times I feel like it's not comfortable because you're literally stepping in somebody else's shoe. Right? A properly broken in shoe or boot or whatever to your foot, it's a one-to-one fit, and there's nothing else out there that will fit like it because your shoe is broken into your foot. Any shoe with a ton of foam, with a ton of synthetic materials, the break-in is very different because it doesn't mold to your foot and then maintain that shape. So if there's any takeaway from the video, it's that properly constructed, welted, or Blake-stitched footwear with leather or cork components will mold to the shape of your foot and help maintain moisture, wicking, whatever. Your feet won't smell. You know, with proper arch support, they will support your arches. A properly broken-in shoe is infinitely more comfortable, in my opinion, than any pair of running shoes over a long period of time. I can argue with that, but like it gets subjective, right? So yeah, that's basically the video. So yeah, like shoes are cool. Vibergs are cool. Oh, I want to talk about these Vibergs so bad, but I won't. Great Stones are really cool. I want to talk about Great Stones so bad, but basically, long story short, if you like weren't really paying attention, here is the conclusion. Leather components and natural components like cork, it's like a yoga mat. Oh my God, I completely forgot to mention that. Okay, I'm gonna go back, I'm gonna backtrack a little bit. A good yoga mat is made of cork and not foam because it's the same reason, because it's all about like moisture wicking and maintaining shape over time and not smelling, and it's natural and it's more comfortable. So, okay, we're talking about cork. People are like, where's the cork? Okay. People are like, where is the cork? Here is the welt going around the shoe. Here is a midsole and here's an outsole, right? There are like three layers here, basically. A welt, a midsole, and an outsole. When the welt is stitched to the upper, it's attached to the footbed by a piece of canvas called gemming. And the gemming is, it leaves basically a cavity that goes around here. So to fill that cavity, they use cork. To make it simple, the cork is really just there to fill up space. What really matters is the leather footbed, right? A 100% leather footbed is really where most of the comfort comes from, but the cork helps. And that's really it. So yeah, breaking a shoe in is important, and I would recommend doing it because if you don't do it and then you wear a brand new pair of like really stiff shoes, you're gonna have a bad time. So anyway, thank you for watching. Happy Sunday, or whatever day you're watching this. You know I upload these on Sundays, and I hope you have a wonderful day.